Hi guys. So there are a couple of good news I want to share before I start this tutorial. So the first thing is our official website is live and it's live on asetalias.in. There you go. So thanks to all the contributors who have contributed to this website. And yeah, that calls for a celebration indeed. This is our uh, organization on GitHub, and this is one of the organizational repository. Sadly, we have one right now, but probably in the future you can see a bunch of repo here. So, first of all, why this tutorial? So, um, in few weeks back during the webinar actually, due to some live disturbances, the webinar was not recorded properly, and the students, I guess, were not fully satisfied with the way it it went. I mean, no offense to the guy who was there. So sorry, Anshul. But all I'm saying is that there were some technical glitches. So I thought, okay, let's make this up, and so here we are. So let's start with GitHub. So first of all, what exactly is GitHub? So it's a version controlling system. Now, what is a version controlling system? So basically, it's a system where you put a file and you do some changes onto a file. So Git tracks the changes as you go along with the time. So let's say on today you have a file called a.txt and then you modified some content over it. So the Git will keep the track of both the commits and it says that okay, earlier this file contains this paragraph and now it has this and this paragraph, so you can revert back the changes, and it's pretty cool and fancy indeed if you are trying to write code actually. So sorry, so yeah, so this is what GitHub is about. So before we start, I'll try to cover the basics of GitHub. In case I go haywire, you can probably drop in your comments. This is kind of like an impromptu session, and I just thought of making this up. And so let's start with it. So first of all, what you need. So basically, you need an account on GitHub, and you can do that by typing github.com, and a fancy page will open. I'll probably show you that. Okay, incognito, and all you need to do is just type GitHub, and you can pick a username, email address, create a password, and that's all you need. So once you log into the GitHub, you'll see a profile over here, and it would be something like this. uh, so right now, since I've been on GitHub since quite a while now, so I think I have few repositories and few commits, but don't worry if you see this page is blank. So so first of all, we'll create a new repository. So what is a repository? So repository is nothing. You can treat it as a folder or a remote uh, storage place where you dump your code. The point here is that Git tracks all the code changes. So yeah, so as you can see, so suppose I have this repository called startup events, and here you can see I have like 20 commits, right? So what happens is you I can go back to any of the commit and I can check. So as you can see, like I'll give you an example. So currently this is the structure of my startup events repository, and suppose I want to see okay how initially it was. So I'll go to the initial level thing and I'll say okay browse files, and yeah, so initially my this repository looked like this, and now it looked like this. So you can track each commit and each code change that you do on GitHub. So yeah, let's get started. So once you are logged in, all you need to do is create a new repository. So what you need to do is click over here this plus sign and you can click on new repository, and then you need a repository name. So you can name it anything, but By convention, it should be meaningful. But since we don't follow any convention in tutorial, so I'll name it as swag. And I'll say just for fun. So you can type in the description as well, and it's optional. You may or may not want to type it. So I'm just typing it. And plus, there's an option where it says initialize this repository with README. So what basically README does is it tells you about the project. So most of the project which you see on GitHub has this file called README, and you put the content uh, with respect to the repository and what your code is about. And you can probably glance a few README over time. There are two types of repository settings that Git provides. So one is public and one is private. So private is obviously paid unless and until you are a student member or a developer program member. So we'll initialize this repository with README, and you'll see when I do this, this content will get transferred to the README file, and then you can see a file called readme.md. Then you can add a gitignore file. So gitignore is basically a file, a special file which contains all the files or the expressions that you don't want Git to keep track of. So let's suppose you don't want Git to keep track of your DLL files or PYC files or any kind of bytecode files which are just generated on the go when you execute a program or your software. That's how you add the gitignore file. Second is the license. So in license, what you do is you choose the license which are given over here. There are a bunch of licenses, and you can probably read about it. So I'll keep it none because we'll come on to gitignore in the later part. Then all we need to do is create repository. So now we have created this new brand repository, and now we want to commit some code into it. As you can see, I have just one commit, and you can see this file readme.md, and readme.md has this thing just for fun, the description. And now we'll clone this up. So to clone this up, you need this URL. So you can copy the URL. So you can either use SSH. So if you have a public or private key, if you have put your public key onto the GitHub, you can probably do it pretty easily. If not, then you have to do using HTTPS. So it will prompt you for password, and it's kind of like irritating at times. But yeah, for the sake of simplicity, we'll use HTTPS for now. So we'll use the command git clone to copy this repository, and yeah, voila. So we have this repository, as you can see, and it has this file readme.md, and I'm on master branch. So now basically there are three commands that you need to know. It's basically git add, git commit, and git push, and I'll tell you each of the following. But let's first look at the directory structure. So here we have this thing called .git. So basically it will keep a track of all the files and the changes made onto this folder locally, and once you push them, it'll do some magic, and it'll keep a track of all the files. That's all I can say right now. So so let's start with it. So I'll open this file. So I have this file just for fun, but okay, I'll keep this up, and suppose I want to add a new file. So let's add a new file, and let's name it add sub.py. So basically I have a file which I call add sub.py, and I'm going to write a Python function into this for addition. A comma b is equal to a plus b, return c. And then I'll have another function which will do the subtraction bit, a comma b is equal to a minus b, return c. And then I'll do some dirty things, which would be output addition equal to addition 4,5, output subtraction function equal to subtraction 6 comma 5, and I'm gonna print this. Yeah, I'm using Python 2.7, so just don't kill me for this. Some pepid thing, and yeah, so I have this file basically now, and yeah, so basically I've added a new file and I've written some code into it, and let's see how it goes on my shell now. So first you need to do is you have added a new file, so you need to check the status. So what git status tells you is it tells you the status of your local repository. So it's showing me question mark. So it's just telling me, okay, this new file created. I don't know what to do with it. So let's say we want to add this file. So we'll add this file using the command git add -a, which is basically add all. If you want to add just one file, you just type in the file name. That's how it goes. So for add all, you do git add -a, or for adding a particular file, you just do git add and that file name. So basically we have added this file, so now git will keep a track of it, and git says okay. Now you can see it says hey, okay, cool, this file is added now. Now I want to commit. So basically when you say commit, you tell the git that okay, see boss, I want to commit this file. You keep a check over it. Now you are putting it onto the version controlling part. So I'm writing Python program for addition and subtraction added. Now when you do git commit, it's very important to write an important commit message, and there's a altogether guidelines for the same. You can probably read about it, and these are called git commit guidelines or git guidelines per se. As you can see, here are some of the things written, like why was this change necessary, how does it address the problem, stuff like that. So basically it comes into picture when you are trying to resolve a particular issue from a repository, but your commit message should be meaningful. There are times when I get boggled by some vague commit message and it does not appeal to me, and I get stuck at times, just trying to figure out what the author of the program or the software has done without the relevant commit message. So commit message is important. So so this is fairly a simple commit message. It says Python program for addition and subtraction has been added. Before that, let's okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to add it. So I have closed that thing, and it says okay, so this is my commit which I have performed, and it says one file change, 0 insertions, 0 deletions, create mode. So the file right now is in create mode. So again we'll do git status, and you can see master / origin / master ahead 1. So it's basically telling me that your local repository is ahead by 1 commit. So basically when you added the repository and you clone the repository, it has 1 commit, and now you have added 1 more commit, and you are ahead by 1 commit. So do you want to push the change now onto the remote repository? So for that, what you need to do is you need to perform git push origin master. That's all. So origin master is basically you are telling it to push the changes onto the master branch in the remote repository. So once you do this, you press enter, and it will prompt you for username. So my username, my password, and it should do right. So as you can see, so my changes has been committed to the remote repository, and we'll check whether it's there or not. Yeah, so as you can see now I've got 2 commits. The one is add sub.py, and the other one is readme.md, which was my initial commit, and showing me the time also. So yeah, so this is how you do your first commit. So it's pretty simple. You do git add -a, or if you want to add a particular set of files, you just type the file name, you do the commit and you write the relevant commit message, and then you do the git push origin master. That's all. uh, that's the basic of GitHub that you get. Now there are certain things that you know while working on GitHub, and you may or may not encounter them, but you'll generally will. So we'll go on to something known as pull request. So what is a pull request? So pull request is basically when you want the contributor of a particular, when you want to send your code to a particular repository which does not belongs to you. So think of it as some project. Suppose you like a project very much and you are using the same code again and again, and suddenly you feel okay, there are certain changes that can be done. So you fork that repo, and then you do some changes, and then you send a pull request. So I'll come on to the forking a repo. So how do you fork a repo? So I'll take an example of, I think I should have some familiar names over here. So I think let's try with Saurabh Kumar. Okay, so his name is, let's say, the S Kumar. Yup. So I have this user, the S Kumar, and he has got like 58 repositories. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fork one of his repositories. So it can be anything. Okay, so let's say this thing. So this is his repository, and it ensures usernames are URL friendly, no abusive reserve word. So this is something which he has made on his own, and what I'll do, I'll try to fork it. So when you fork it, it basically what you're doing is from the skumar / python usernames, this repo will be added to your Git account. So it's as simple as that. And it looks like I've already forked this. So basically when you click on fork, you will have this option, and it'll work like this. So since I've already forked this, so it's already there. I think probably we can move on to some other branch. Repository. I think this should be it. Okay, great. So I want to copy this repository of his. I want to fork it. So I'll just click on my name, and it's basically going to give me a copy of the thing at aniket/.files, but you'll see a message written over here, fork from the skumar /.files. So now suppose I have this thing over here, and now I suddenly feel that I need to make some changes into it, and what I'll do is I'll basically clone this repo again. I'll do my changes, I'll push it onto my branch, and then I'll open up a pull request. So I'll tell you how exactly this happens, but I'll take a more simplistic case with one of my repositories over here. So okay, cool. So I have this foundation, so I have this code for deposited foundation. So what I'm going to do is, so let's suppose I have already forked it and it's in my own space. So what I'll do is I'll clone this repository like workshop web, right? If I already have it, let me check. I'll remove it. Oops. And it's being, so I have cloned it right on my locally, and I've forked it over here. So now what I'll do is, now let's suppose I want to do some changes. So I'll, let me just fork it also. Okay, give an existing fork. So I do have an existing fork for this. God damn it, it's so hard to give you an example. Okay, so oops. Okay, so we'll try with this. So what we actually going to do is, so we have this thing called workshop web. So what I'll do is I'll create a side branch. So basically, I don't want my code to get pushed onto the master branch but to a side branch just for precautionary measures. So I'll say uh, testing GitHub. So what this command does is basically it checks out a new branch from your master branch, and it says which, and we'll name it as testing GitHub. So this branch will have all the commits which are there in the master, and you are going to work on this branch. So your master branch which has a stable code will remain intact. And I hope I am able to get you to the point. So I have this branch, okay, now. So what I'll do right now is I'll simply open the code, and let's fiddle with it a bit. So I want to remove this line. I don't need Ansible, and I don't need this deploy options as well. Any code changes, right? And then I'll do git status, and it'll say that I have modified this file travis.yml, and I'll say okay, I'm going to add it now, and I'm going to remove to deploy option from travis.yml. So guys, you don't need to worry about this part because I know what I'm doing, but it's just to show you that you need to write a relevant commit message, and then you can do git push origin. Now here's the thing. The last time when we were on master branch, what we just did git push origin master. Now here you want to push a new branch to the remote repository. So what you'll do is you'll push git push origin and the branch name, which is testing GitHub, and you'll enter your credentials. Whoops. And there you go. So basically it will say it has a new branch, and you can see your recently pushed branches are over here. And that's how you open a pull request as well. So what you do is you click on this compare and pull request. So what are you comparing right now? So since it's my own branch, it will telling me that you are comparing your master branch with and the testing GitHub branch, and testing GitHub branch is one commit ahead of the master branch. And how do I know that? Because I've just done that one commit and I've removed this part, so you can check all the things. So if I'm okay with this, I'll just click on create pull request, right? And there are certain checks which will happen, but meanwhile we'll go again back to the point where where I'll show you the console. So here, as you can see, we have 3 branches. So one is the GH pages for this project, which is fine, but we are interested in this branch, which is testing GitHub, and it says one commit ahead of master. So this branch is one commit ahead of my master branch. So now I want to merge. So I've opened a pull request. So I want the developer of the master branch or that particular repository to accept my code, and I have done this. So basically I have opened a new pull request. So what that person will do is he'll check your code, and he'll say okay, it's good to merge, and he'll merge it using the tools or manually or probably using the command line, whatever. But here, since it's your own repository and you want to keep your code clean and you don't want to mess things up on your master branch, so you have a side branch called as testing GitHub, and you want to merge that code into the master branch, and that's how you do it. So basically what you do is you do git checkout master. So when you do git checkout master, you come again onto the master branch locally, and since you know that your testing GitHub code was fine, so you just do git merge testing GitHub, and there you go. So as you can see, it's updating the hash, which is basically the commit hash, and it's saying that fast forward, and it's saying that you have removed 14 lines from .travis.yml file. So when I say git status, it says you are ahead by one commit, right? So you don't need to write add and commit again, because from that side branch, this has been merged onto your local master. And now what you'll do is you'll just do git push origin master, right? And you'll just push the code. And now when you push the code, you'll see that your pull request will automatically get closed over here, right? You can see this one closed, which was open a remove deploy option from travis.yml. So this is how pull request and the concept of pull request works. Uh, the same works for different repositories. If I want to send a pull request to some other guys, I can pretty much do that as well, and that's how it's done. So basically we have covered like git push, add, commit, and a bit of branching. Branching is particularly necessary. Now, one more point I want to cover is it's basically pretty simple, and is handling merged conflicts. So what exactly is a merge conflict? So basically when you have a file, let's call it a.txt, and on line 1, so you have done a commit on which you have, on the first line you have written, hi, my name is Aniket. And then there's a second guy who has written the same thing onto the same file which was earlier empty, and he has written, hi, my name is ABC. And now when you try to commit, you'll have a certain kind of merge conflict in, amalgamating the two pull requests. So for that, you have to do some manual intervention and manually remove code removal. And I'll show you how it happens. So let's say we have a file called a.txt over here. So uh, let's say, hi, this is regarding merge conflict, right? So on master branch, I have a file called ai.txt, and I'll open up another window just for the sake of simplicity. Whoops, it gets larger and larger. Right, so so we have a file over here, a.txt, right? So what I'll do is let's say I do this. So it has the following content. Hi, this is regarding merge conflict. Now I will write the same thing onto a test branch. So basically I've opened a test branch. So let's say this is the main code developer who is working on the master branch, and you are just a noob or starting with it, and you are using certain things on the master branch. So you say a.txt. Okay, this is interesting. Yeah, but still I can create a merge conflict over here. So oh no, I can't. Let me just push this commit. So I'll tell you, sorry guys, I just got lost with the merge conflict thing. So let me just push this up. This is just a test. Mind you guys, relevant commit message. This is just for fun. So I'm putting up. So from the test branch itself, I'm just updating my code. So you can see another branch over here. Right, which says one file. This is just a test, and it has just one file, a.txt, with nothing in it. Okay, so I'll write another. So I'll write another. This is retest. So I'll write another test and I'll write another commit. This is a fake commit. Now look at push origin test branch, since we are on the test branch now. Okay, so as you can see, we have this file on the a.txt and it says this is a text. So now that's fine. I have a test branch. Now, meanwhile, what the core contributor did while you were busy preparing for the pull request, he actually created a file called a.txt. And in the first line, he has written, this is awesome. And then he has committed a code into the master directly because hey, he's a code developer. Just a random file, git push origin master. And he has done this, right? So now what will happen is you will just see right now when this goes through. Yeah, as you can see, this branch has conflict that must be resolved, and this resolution this has to be resolved manually or with some of the intervention. So what has basically happened is in the same file and in the same line there are two different things being written. So here I have written this is awesome, and here I have written, I guess, this is a test. So the git can't just commit out. So like in one file it says this is a test, and in the same file on the first line it's written this is awesome. So git just can't patch these two up. So git needs to know that which of the line do you want to pick, and that's why it's showing you the merge conflict. So this is how it will happen. So if I'll go onto the master branch and if I'll try to merge the test branch, right, it's showing me conflict, merge conflict in a.txt. And now we'll open a.txt and see, because I have done the git merge test branch and earlier it went well, but now there's a merge conflict. So it's showing me the head and it's showing me, okay, there are two things, there are two lines which says this is awesome, this is a test. Which one you want to keep? And I say, hey, I want to keep both. Do you want it in this order? Do you want this is a test to be first, or this is awesome to be second, and vice versa? So I say, no, I don't care about that. I just want to keep both lines. So you have to manually resolve this conflict. So once you manually resolve this, so you have basically deleted all that dirty stuff that get puts into the file, and then you do git -a, and then you do git status. So basically you have modified a file, and then you do git commit. Whoops. And it says merge branch, test branch, which contains of two commits. So basically you're gonna merge that branch, and then you're gonna do git push origin master. So so basically the merge conflict is a thing where two developers work on the same file, and somehow it messes up GitHub which code to accept and which code to not. So instead of removing one's code, GitHub gives you an option and says, hey, wait, there's a merge conflict on the same line in the same file. I want you to decide which one you want to pick. So basically you pick up that thing. So this is about merge conflict. So I know it was a pretty fast tutorial, and what we have learned is basically the basics of GitHub, like git push, add, commit, and stuff like that. One thing that you need to remember is basically you need an account on GitHub, and you need local Git settings. And I completely forgot in the initial part of the tutorial that you can download it from over here for your desktop, and you can use your CLI utility as well for the GitHub to use. So basically, if you are using a dep system, it will be like sudo apt-get install git. If you're using some Red Hat or Fedora distribution, it will be yum install something. For Mac, it would be brew install, and just like that. So yeah, so that was my first. This is my first recording, and I know there might be a bunch of mistakes which I might have done. Feedbacks are welcome, and I hope you'll start contributing. If you have any requests regarding what should I cover next with respect to GitHub or any other thing, I'll be happy to do that in my free time. So I hope this will help you, and cheers. Bye bye.